Alright, let me get on there. I'm going to end up connecting a different camera. So let me see who all out there can see me. Okay. Letting everybody know that I'm on, that I'm ready. Gonna have a live discussion about what's currently going on. In Missouri and on the border. So we'll see who all gets connected and who all gets in here. We'll wait until we can get more people in. Alright, we'll give it a few minutes and see who all is gonna make it in. I don't know how updated it is, but it has my viewers registered. Can you see and hear me okay? We are live right now. I sent out 2 different links. One of them is the YouTube link. Can you see and hear me okay? There we go. Hey, will you grab me the potato skin?
Yes.
Nice.
You want your Twizzlers too?
Yes, please.
What? Tomorrow you can go to school? I'm listening. You have Skittles. Okay. Do not throw the wrapper away. Give me the wrapper when you're done. Why? Because it has Xbox code on. Cool. Okay. We got 3 of them. So you have 3 weeks of Xbox. Yay! I get them all.
I'm still live, by the way.
Oh. Hi, guys. Hi. Skittles. The fam. Yay, Skittles. There it goes.
I'm waiting for people to get on. I like it.
And lunch? What? For your lunch?
I'm going to go over to my YouTube link. Minimize that. No comments yet. Excellent. Nice. Alright, we got Mrs. Triple Crunchin Activist. Came through and told me she can see and hear me. Thank you very much.
I was wondering if you could do the thing tomorrow at 2. Yeah, that's a message.
You can close the curtains now. We don't have light coming in. Okay. Hopefully Mr. Andrew Elmer Dickey will come through. He just updated on the status. Nobody on YouTube yet. I don't want to get started until everybody's here. I know a couple of people I talked to had to step away, so I'm kind of taking a little break too. But I wanted to hop on, let everybody know we're going to be discussing Ferguson riots, Israel-Gaza, race relations in this country, our border, and get into a few things and see what everybody thinks. We'll get some opinions, and everybody can weigh in. You can weigh in on YouTube, Facebook, or on the Google Hangout, and I'll try to keep up with everybody. Can't get on.
On Google Hangout?
Yeah, I'm gonna have him interact with me here.
Yeah, I can help him. I'm not promising you can.
Let me grab the YouTube link again for him. That's my buddy out in the heart of it all. The heart of it all.
Yeah. Alright, you gotta sing the Stay the Same song.
I'm gonna see if I can grab a couple people across the pond. I know it's a 6-hour difference between here and England.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I know that for a fact with Belgium. I'm not sure about England. I think it's 5 or 6 hours for sure. I think you're right in the ball, You're in the right ballpark.
Yeah, I'll see if I can get a couple people on, get a different perspective, you know.
Maybe he's working home all day today.
All right, Josh. And we got Mr. Adams. Thank you for joining us, everybody. I got on and we realized that we wanted to be able to at least get on so everyone knew we were on. And now I'm kind of fashionably late in sending out my other invitations. So you guys get to join me while I do that. We'll be discussing all kinds of things. I'll monitor my private messages on Facebook. I'm also monitoring the YouTube link, and I'm also on the Google Hangout, which I'll probably have that in front of me most of the time. So I am just about done here. All right, Andrew, I see you, buddy. I will keep you up to date as to how it goes. He's got to work tonight, so go ahead and kick some butt there, buddy. We'll take care of everything here on our end. I am almost ready. So that's the YouTube link I just sent out to a ton of people. How did you? Okay. All right. That gets me caught up. Okay. See if we're almost ready here. I'm waiting on Jill. And David Boyd, let me know if that YouTube link got through to you. Kind of hard when you send out all those messages.
Yeah.
All right, Mr. Loudermilk running for the United States Congress seat here in Ohio will also be joining us. So let me check my YouTube link. All right, nothing there yet. And I don't know if that'll update in front of me, so I'll have to keep giving that a look. Okay. Okay, we've actually got a few more people that I'm seeing in different areas that are joining us here, so that was unexpected. That's nice. Thanks, guys. I imagine this will be lively. So here's what I'll do. On my Facebook page, I'm going to go ahead and put on there an area for suggestions. Okay, suggestions as to what we wish to discuss first. And remember, the YouTube link is delayed from the actual video, and it could be like 10 seconds. So if it's delayed, I apologize. The messages will come in quicker on the messenger, on private messenger, and possibly on YouTube than the actual video transpires. So bear with me. John Stigler, Zach and Sean, I see you guys. Looks like we're getting ready to start. I have notified one of the many Patriot organizations that we work with. It's kind of an intel thing, and we'll see who wants to join from there, and then we'll get started. I already posted on my Facebook place for suggestions as to what we want to discuss first. So whoever types first will, I'll start on theirs first. And I will check a YouTube. So I gave a lot of people the YouTube link. All right, John, I got you. Sounds good. And like I said there, I'll just keep that chat window up. We can interact there. That's fine by me. And then if it gets annoying for everybody else, we can bounce out and do a private chat between us. That way it doesn't drive them insane. Nice. All right. The first person, Triple Crunch, I'm not sure if you want me to use your name over YouTube and over the internet airwaves. So until you give, and this is for everybody, until you give me permission to use your full name, I will not do it. This person put, what are your thoughts about the reasoning behind the protest? I support the protest against police brutality, but I know a lot of people are mad that it took the killing of a black man to start it all. And I feel like the fact that it's getting started in general is good. So again, what are your thoughts? Okay, we're talking about Ferguson. And again, my thoughts, I guess I should be clear about this. Because I'm a member of different organizations, these are my thoughts. They don't represent the views of those organizations. This is just me. I think it's important to look at a few things. We have, it's not, I apologize, not sure how this works. Okay. Mr. Hoover, I will get to you. So good deal. We got a number of questions coming in now. As far as Ferguson's and the protest itself, it's all about dealing in the reality that we know that okay, good. We know that this country has a history of white cops killing black men. Period. End of story. It's white cops killing black men. We don't always know the circumstance. In some places, it's I hate to say this, but it's become somewhat socially acceptable. If you listened to any of NWA. I know that might seem like a strange reference, niggas with attitude, but they were talking about it then. We're talking late 80s, early 90s, and they were using military vehicles then to actually punch through people's houses, or they would actually rip them out and rip them apart. So this has been going on for a long time. Missouri, poetically enough, was the last state to abolish slavery. So in that sense, even more, if a revolution is going to start in this country, it's kind of poetic that it would start there. But they have they're sick of it. That's why they're protesting. We have to think about it like this, okay? If America was a place where, let's say that somebody got shot and they were left out in the sun for 4 hours and people didn't know the circumstances, just somebody was shot. If that didn't happen commonly, excuse me, people wouldn't react this way. They wouldn't react with protest. We like to think that we would, like, oh man, that's appalling, that's horrible, and that's exactly how I would react. No, it really isn't. That's not even typical of basic common human behavior. Typically what we would do, because we're civil people and we believe in living civil, we would demand an investigation. I know that sounds lame, but we would try to figure out what happened. You know, like, okay, what happened? What went on? Because we are civil people and we believe in a civil, moral society and standard. So we would think immediately along those lines. Okay, what about our system failed? These people are beyond that. They know that the system has failed. They know that it failed a long time ago. They're sick and tired of this white police force policing the behavior of a predominantly black people. And I want to take this a little bit further. I want to say something that I'm sure I'll see people blowing up about. But here, I want you to imagine this, okay? Let's imagine, and this is, I'm not saying this is the case, I'm saying let's imagine that Mike Brown goes in and robs the place, strong arm robs the place. He comes out and starts a fight with the cop, tries to take his gun. The cop shoots him dead. And Mr. Brown is in gangs. He's a known, let's say he's a known prolific gang member. Let's even take it that far. Okay, that's all one issue. Okay, that incident with that cop has sprung up an entirely different issue that was always there, but is now being addressed. And this one thing, this one action, brought about immediate militarized police response. Now we have these two things that people are trying to blend as one, especially the ruling class and government figures. But these are both issues that have been issues for quite some time. The white cop on black civilian violence has been an issue for a quite longer time. But the militarization of our police force has slowly been going on for about 10 to 15 years, and that's without stop. That's without hold. So these things are like I said, what it has done is it's brought about the two separate issues that they're trying to make one. The people there have even said, now this isn't a white issue, this isn't a black issue. We need these cops, you know. Cops come out in a militarized fashion, and the people freak out and riot. So the police come out in a larger militarized fashion, and the police freak out again. I mean, the way that it's been handled has been kind of strange as well. So that's that. Before I get much more into that, I hope that answers that question for Triple Crunch. That the reasoning behind the protest is deep-seated, it's deep-rooted, and it has to do with more than just one incident. It's the straw that broke the camel's back that says this happens continually. There's always harassment. There's always black people in this country being shot by white people. we're not going to take it. And now the merits of the case don't even matter that much because of the way that the police responded. And for a lot of the Patriot Movement people, that's the meat of the issue for us. They were able to mobilize militarized SWAT team and police force on a moment's notice on American civilians, but will not touch our freaking border. Not that it matters that much, because the Department of Homeland Security has been flying them in on planes on our dollar anyway. So there's that. So I hope that answered that. Hoover said, I want to know about my stance on militias and the border crisis. Okay. As much as those two things are related, I want to try to keep them separate just for the sake of answering the question. And let me make sure that he can hear me. But I don't want to answer dead air, or I guess you guys, but it wasn't your question, so that would be weird. And then while I'm waiting for him to respond, I've got people wanting to join the Google Hangout. What I'm going to do is send you the YouTube link and see if you can listen through that, because I know you're at work, Mr. Tiny. Okay. And if Triple Crunch, if that, okay, good, Mr. Hoover can hear me, excellent. If that doesn't answer your question, Miss Triple Crunch, let me know, and I will get to that as soon as I can. All right, and you're welcome. You're welcome for that answer. Thank you for the question. I really appreciate it. That was the first question of the night.
Yes.
All right, so militias, border crisis. You know, I should have given another disclaimer that you guys may not like all of my answers. But so let me tell you my intentions. My intentions are for us. I may say things that are inflammatory, but make no mistake, it's to get us all to think and to get us all in a better position, regardless of how you may feel about me personally. Having said that, militias, we need them, obviously. My stance on militias is kind of a general question. Militias are, they serve the purpose for our Second Amendment. So let me be clear. Our Second Amendment is not to be enjoyed. Our Second Amendment is strictly for the use of shooting American politicians. There was no other reason why it was written. It was to shoot the police that would secure tyranny in this country. It was to shoot any military that would secure tyranny in this country. And it was to shoot politicians that would be the proprietors or the catalyst for tyranny in this country. It's not for hunting. It's not for sport. It's not for you to enjoy. You are, by constitutional right, supposed to be able to have the same weaponry as the United States military, because we're supposed to be able to adequately defend ourselves if one of our military against us. That's the whole point. The militia works hand in hand with the Second Amendment. They're supposed to be well governed by a mayor. A mayor can actually be a convicted felon. That's not done by coincidence. They did that. It was written in those ways very purposefully. And then all the way to the convicted felon status for mayor, they preserved that spot for all civilians, all public. I mean, that may scare you to think that convicted felons can be mayor, but they make sure that, you know, we're supposed to maintain civilian control of the military, civilian authority of the military, hence the president is a civilian. And we're supposed to maintain well-regulated militia through the mayor. So I know a lot of people don't know that, which is kind of scary, but our militias are absolutely needed. And because the militias understand their rights very well, that's why you don't see them interject into a lot of things that go on, because it doesn't apply. It doesn't apply to the militia status. The border crisis. Wow, I'm getting a lot of messages. I apologize, guys. All right, Mr. Adams, I will get to you, and Moral, you will be after him. Okay, I got your message there. So it'll be Mr. Adams is next. The border itself. All right, let me answer this. I know that I might answer things in a strange way, but just bear with me. All of our Congress and the Senate are graduates of Ivy League schools. Bear with me. And because of that, because they all graduate, like there was the big controversy with Bush and Kerry, that they were members of Skull and Bones and all that came out. And then he even published it in his book. He was like, yeah, but it's not a big deal, blah, blah, blah. So we all know this, and now when you look at the rates of nepotism and cronyism in Washington D.C., they're higher than they've ever been before. And essentially what that is I would hire my brother, my cousin, my friends to all these positions. Well, if you look, it's really disgusting. Just look it up. I mean, don't trust the guy on YouTube, man. Seriously, look that stuff up for yourself. That way, you're discerning for yourself. That's one of the most important things you can do. Is know these things are true for yourself, not because somebody said it. But yeah, look at the people in D.C. on Capitol Hill, and then look at how many of them have appointed or given positions to relatives, family members, friends that are appointed positions, and then some of them are elected as well, where they've helped to finance campaigns and things. Cronyism and nepotism are a huge problem because you're making a club, which essentially is unconstitutional. You're creating a class within a class as well. So, and look at what we have. I don't know that you could define any better what we have in this country right now than a class within a class, and then a class within a class. And I have many examples. If anybody wants to say, hey, how is that? I can answer that for you in many different ways. Not just your typical ruling class and then there's us. I have other ways to answer that as well, where that has also been trampled on and violated. So the border, it comes into play because think about this. Our leadership are all Ivy League graduates, right? If they have this higher level of education than most of us do, they're actually taught the way that you're supposed to be taught, like Aristotle, Socrates, Plato. They're not taught the way that we're taught now, like sight learning and things like that. For a real quick example, what they do is they teach you in accordance to how the human brain develops. So first they teach you all the rules. Here are the rules to the world. What goes up must come down. That's called gravity. This is addition and subtraction. Just the basic rules to things. English literature, and then the rules to social etiquette. Then as you start to get older, 12, 13, 14 years old, that's when you start to critically think for yourself. So then they teach you how to critically think. That's why these Ivy League nitwits, some of them happen to be really good at debate because they're taught these things through schooling. They're also taught how to take tests like AP students and things like that. So that just makes them really good manipulators. So if these people are in charge of the country and they're in charge of the border, how is it that it's so porous? Right? But on a moment's notice, they were able to get a militarized police unit or units or company or whatever it is, I don't know the size out there, in Ferguson. I mean, that right there kind of tells you, you know, what's going on with the border. My thoughts on the border personally is, if anybody that's listening can name one country that can sustain 30,000 illegals and then 10,000 and then 60,000 in one facility? 60,000? Name one country that that's sustainable for. If you can't think of one, then you're correct. It's not sustainable for any modern country on the planet. And If you have a bunch of Ivy League people in there and they're allowing that to happen, then you can start to ask yourself, why? Why? Why would the most highly educated in the nation do something like this when in tandem we have our own homeless that aren't eating, that we're not even allowed to feed anymore? In a country that already has all of these problems and we're on this bad financial roller coaster and everything, why would you do that? If you have the highest level of education in history, in math, in sociology, and those are basic courses for, sociology, psychology, all those are basic courses. If that's the case, then why do they have an open border? Because those sons of bitches know exactly how to destroy a country. They know exactly how to tear a country apart through subverting people's thinking and coercing them into taking advantage of people's belief in living a civil life, like they have ours. So that's kind of my real quick basic gist on the border. I also want to know what you guys have to say, and then I'll spit that back out for everybody else. Hey, so-and-so wanted everybody to know that they thought this, they feel like this, they said this, because we still got some things to get to as well. Mr. Adams, with the DoD's program 1033 that has given millions of dollars worth of supplies, military equipment, is it safe to say that we are seeing in what we are seeing in Ferguson could be expected in other American neighborhoods and cities? I'm not as familiar with the DoD's program 1033. It gave millions of dollars in supply and equipment to the cities, I believe, is what you're saying, and I'm kind of ashamed. I should know more about that. By the way, Mr. Hoover, I hope that answers your question. If it doesn't, hit me back. I'm paying attention to the chat, and I'll get back with you, but I hope that answers it. All right, I got to get with Tiny again. He's not able to hear me. Okay, so the militarization of the police force, and again, this is kind of this is one of those deals. I just want you to think about this for yourself. I'm going to give you the facts, and then you just deduce it for yourself. Okay? We have all this weird gun legislation. Brady gets shot in his ass, so they have the Brady bill, and it started from there. The American people were screaming out of fear, take my gun rights away, don't let convicted felons have guns, this, that, and the other. And then, once you open that can of worms, there it is, and that kind of stresses some things I'm going to say later on. When you open that can of worms, it basically, if they can do it to them, they can do it to you. If you don't believe me, I have proof, and you guys are going to freaking hate me for it. So, if you have a ruling class that is telling you you can't have these kind of bullets, you can't have these kind of these capacity clips, large capacity clips, and having a fully automatic gun is just ludicrous. Why would you need that? But our SWAT team was just armed with the exact same hand, a full metal jacket. That's insanity. That's insanity. First of all, FMJs are illegal. They're illegal in most states, in most guns. If they have armor-piercing rounds, we're not allowed to have. They have all kinds of weird rounds too that they won't release. They were saying something about phosphorus tips, magnesium tips. That it's some kind of new bullet. They said it's not a tracer round, but it's a I don't know, some kind of extra penetrating round. Anyway. Why would a ruling class tell you you can't have those weapons, but then they start to arm the Department of Agriculture? The IRS? Come on, think for yourself. What is that? What do you believe that is? You have a ruling class, right? You're not allowed to have these things, but all of the divisions underneath their thumb automatically get them on what they want you to have. Why would they want that, especially in America? Why would they want the public to have lesser weapons? There it is. I mean, I want to know what you guys think. I want to know what you guys believe on that without me saying anything further. I've already insinuated it, but okay. So the militarization, sorry, Mr. Our police, I believe, is for obvious reasons. Obvious reasons. It's a it's to be able to rule, and they know damn well that we're a country full of veterans, farm boys, and people who know how to shoot. Love you, baby. Get some sleep. We have it was like General Chairman Mao said, no way he would invade the U.S. There would be a gun behind every blade of grass. You know, not to mention, we know how to use them, and we allow females in our military. So you don't even know who could be coming around the corner with a 30-06 pointed right at your freaking head, especially if you're our enemy. So that's foreign or domestic for any of the FBI, NSA cocksuckers that are listening right now. All right, Tiny, before I get to another question, I will get to you, buddy. I know one of the organizers for Unite Ohio has been trying to join us, and so I'm going to have to take a second here to connect with him. I know he has something he wants to add. And it looks like a friend of mine from Germany may be joining us. All right, Mr. Hoover said, what gets me is we have all the militarized police attacking Americans when they could be used to protect the borders, and you're absolutely right. You know, it seemed like there was a collective conscious of us, a bunch of us. As soon as this happened, we all had the same thought, like, you gotta be kidding me. They militarized that fast against our own citizens, but we couldn't put them on the border? Wait till you guys hear the news start to spin. Oh, this cost this much to the taxpayers in Missouri for the police to be out there and blah. Well, wait till you hear about this, and they start to throw. They want to throw that guilt out there of the bill for all of this. It's absolutely ridiculous. You know what? Americans would be more than willing to pay whatever financial cost if we made for damn sure our border was protected. We're not racist people. Are you freaking kidding me? Americans love everything about South America. That's where we go to vacation. We had Chi-Chi's. We have Taco Bell. Those are American versions of Mexican shit. That's what we do. We freaking love Spanish stuff. We like the culture, and the music is kind of carnival-y, but the rest of it is awesome. We like the food. We're constantly cooking Mexican stuff, Spanish stuff. Anybody who says that stuff is full of shit. It's not that Americans are racist against these people, and that's why we want to close the border. We believe that our border is sovereign for a reason, and we believe in its sovereignty was paid by the lives and deaths of some of our relatives. It's not just an imaginary line that can be violated whenever anybody wants. And if it's this hippie belief that the world is free and we should not have borders anywhere, good. If you're free to go anywhere, go the fuck back home. That's where you should be. If you could be anywhere, why do you want to be here? That doesn't make any sense. If you could be anywhere in the world, you want to be here. You done lost your mind and an argument with that. So let me see, before I go nuts anymore, I apologize, that's one of my rants. If anybody wants to make fun of me for my rant, please feel free. Looks like my friend from Germany may join us. I get a couple of people involved here. I don't know if he wants his name mentioned. He's a local celebrity in Ohio. I grew up with him on my TV, actually, and I'll see if he'll join us. That would freaking be interesting if
That
he
would
did.
be awesome.
Yeah. I bet our viewership would
Oh yeah,
if he hopped on.
that would be awesome.
Yeah, and I won't say his name.
No, not without information.
If I could get him on, guys, that would be really cool. And if I could announce his name and everything, I can understand if he wouldn't want me to. Okay, I hope I'm to read this. Faced with a bloated military in what it perceived as a worsening drug crisis, the 101st Congress in 1990 enacted the National Defense Authorization Act. Section 1208 of the NDAA allowed the Secretary of Defense to transfer to federal and state agencies personal property of the Department of Defense, including small arms and ammunition, that the Secretary determines is suitable for use by such agencies in counter drug activities, and B, accesses to the needs of the Department of Defense. It was called the 1208 program in 1996. Congress replaced Section 1208 with Section 1033. Excellent, Mr. Adams. Thank you. That's awesome. I wasn't sure about that, and he put a lot of excellent clarity. Man, that's a smart dude. Let me see if I can get Tiny to join us here. My friend from Germany is asking if she should get on camera, and if she does, I hope that she speaks English, because I can't translate German. Can you?
No.
No?
Like bits and
Yeah.
pieces.
Yeah, it would be very, very broken. There's no way I could do it. You guys would not like it. All right, Jill Myers is with us. I know she doesn't mind me saying her name. She's a gangster. Yeah, there's a man, Mr. Hoover. I hope it's okay I say your name, at least say Mr. Hoover. Those people are race baiters and don't want a unified America, or just completely delusional, or both. I totally agree. This may seem strange. I think a lot of America seems strange these days, and so maybe that'll make us a bit more open to some more strangeness. Russia, we never are told the truth about Russia, period. We just aren't. Russia isn't the enemy that we're supposed to believe they are. We're constantly lied to, especially about them. They have had a real big interest in what's going on, and some other countries have too, because the border is open and pretty much everybody in the world, almost everybody in the world, would like to see the U.S. fall. They have people here, and they are as good as our CIA at collapsing a foreign government from within, causing unrest. Actually, we may have written the book on it. We may have. Ask the Ayatollah Khomeini, 1979 in Iran. Ask them how good we were at that. You know, we overthrew a democratically elected government back then, and so I mean, our people are probably freaking out, our intelligence agencies right now, because there's a lot of foreigners on this land that look, walk, and talk just like us, and and are here to cause trouble. You're absolutely right. There's all kinds of people here ready to cause trouble. And so we'll see where that goes, which I may lead into a little bit later. All right. Tiny has still not been able to join me, so I'm going to go ahead and move on without him. Hopefully he'll get in. You're fine. I wanted to talk, you were talking about race baiters. I want to talk about race and race in America. And this may make some of you uncomfortable, but I do not plan on lying either. I believe, let me see. Okay, CT. I don't know what that means, buddy. Sorry, Joshua. Get back with me on that and let me know what you're talking about. Yeah, that's what I was thinking, Connecticut. And my friend can speak English, and she said she's just going to watch tonight and might contribute through typing. So thank you for joining us, and thank you for a show of solidarity from the UK. I have so many friends over in the UK. I had no idea you guys stood with us the way that you do. It's unbelievable to feel your solidarity. And you know that we need you guys. You know, America probably needs their brothers and sisters in the UK now more than ever. You're kind of our missing link over here, where our education system is so dumbed down incredibly. The British syllabus, for my American friends that don't know this, we have uppercase and lowercase, 2 cases. There's actually 6 cases. And a lot of Americans aren't aware of that, and people in the UK that are still taught by the British syllabus know that there's 6 cases. So just on that disparity alone, where we don't have a very high level of education in this country anymore, we need the people in the UK to band with us, because there's a level of history and just a general level of knowledge that we've lost, that actually has been taken from us over here. So, Andrea, we really appreciate you. We really do. Really appreciate your solidarity. How many of you are waiting for me to talk about race? So, where I put suggestions as to what we wish to discuss first, you guys can comment there too if you're not on a private chat with me, and that's on my Facebook page. Oh wow, it's 3:30 in the morning in Germany.
Oh my.
Got out of bed because she can't sleep. That's rough. I think some of us know what that's like. Especially people in the Patriot movement, man, they're nice. We just call each other or get on here. We just can't sleep, freaking out over some of the stuff that's going on. Race in America. If you get on the scanners, the online scanners for Ferguson, what you'll see is a bunch of white hate, and then a bunch of black hate, and then some stuff in between that's weird, and then more white hate, more black hate, and all of us are very much aware of this. Here are the two, maybe 3 realities. We are given a reality through our television, through our media, that says be politically correct, so being racist is bad. Immediately, for a lot of people, they just shut the door. They're like, that's it, racism doesn't exist, moving on, you know, and that's it. They don't have the general idea of reality and what it is for people. They live in their own world. So we're given that idea by the PC police. You know, racism's bad, don't be racist, therefore it doesn't exist. And then the TVs, especially the news, they act like it doesn't exist. Oh, well, he said something like that? Well, that's horrible. Are you freaking kidding me? Do you live in the same country that I do? Do you even walk the same freaking streets? Do you get gas? Have you been grocery shopping? Ever been on the freaking internet? These people, they pretend as if they don't live in the real world, and it's fucking scary. It's really scary. They, let me talk about our world, which is the second reality. Um, you hear it all the time, you know? You heard it in school growing up. You could hear it from siblings and relatives and friends, and you hear it in crowds, and you hear it, all the time. And we're guilty of it as well. You know, what we're seeing on those scanner chatboard messengers where it says, oh man, it's just it's the white power this, black power this. I mean, and it really is that extreme, and it's the most inflammatory stuff you could possibly imagine too. Die cracker die, die nigger die. I mean, it's everything. And like I said, we've all heard it before, and we like to pretend that it doesn't exist, and that it's not something that I think a lot of people just want to move on. They're like, look, I'm done with it. I don't even want any part of it. I'm moving on. And then we have the third reality, where my white friend in Tennessee will tell you if you get pulled over by a black cop, you're screwed. You get pulled over by a white cop, you're fine. My black friends, or if we look at Ferguson, will tell you, the black folks will tell you they get harassed by white cops. And we've heard this time and time again. You hear white people say, well, they're thugs and this, that, and the other. And they will totally shit away their constitutional rights for the sake of their own personal racism. They don't even care that in Youngstown, Ohio, if you're black, you cannot walk as 3 black men side by side. Are you freaking kidding me? Wait, hold the fuck on. We're in America, right? I mean, if we're in America, I don't give a damn how many of you are. And I don't care what the hell you look like. And you should be able to walk in star patterns and circle patterns and square fucking patterns. Are you shitting me? And when you do that to people, when you polarize people in that way, how in the hell do you expect them to react? Go ahead. Continue to be white and feel privileged, and think it won't come back on your sons and daughters and grandchildren. Look at where we were in the 60s. Look at where we are now. It has to be dealt with. It has to be dealt with head on. Look, racism is real. Tons of racist folks out there. If you're an American, you have the right to be racist. If you want America to survive, I'm not even going to tell you to stop being racist. I don't care. That's your business. You do whatever you got to do. Just understand that all of us have to come together to get back this damn country and government. That's the deal. You can believe in whatever you want, but you're going to have to fight side by side and shoulder to shoulder against a tyrannical government that doesn't give a fuck about you or the people that are standing and fighting next to you, regardless of the color of skin. You want to fight? You want to retain your racist ideologies? You're going to have to fight amongst other races to do it. And then I bet that might make you change your mind when you see brothers and sisters from all other nationalities fighting amongst side of you, which is, it kind of looks like what we could come to in this country. Historically, it's exactly what happened at the Alamo. I don't know how many different tribes of Indian were there. There was Frenchmen there. There were pirates there. There was a couple of white guys there, a couple of black guys there. And that's who fought at the Alamo. Same folks fought in New Orleans. It was a hodgepodge of people, and it had to be, or they were going to lose. Guess what, guys? It has to be, or we're going to lose. It's just that simple. Let these people feel racist. We're not here to change anybody's mind. Let them feel however in the hell they want to feel. Make them understand that if they want to continue to feel that way, they're going to have to fight with us. They're going to have to stand shoulder to shoulder with us. And I want to put more emphasis on the border here in a little bit. We have, a lot of our audience, a lot of our friends, oh man, that's why Unite Ohio works. We have people that are, Republican, Democrat. They don't have any party affiliation. They're white, black, Spanish. I mean, and it's because we've all lived long enough and have seen enough, and we understand through our own discernment that look, my country's beautiful, and it's beautiful because it was fought and paid for, and not because of all the reasons the commercials want to tell you on television. It's beautiful because it was fought and paid for by death. People died for us to have this prosperity that we have. We inherited the greatest country you could possibly inherit. And we're not willing to squander it because somebody wants to divide us over race or sex or creed or I don't care. I don't give a damn. If you're an American and you're here, you're with us. It's just that simple. Let's go get our damn government back. And then afterwards, in the oldest of American traditions, we can go right back to bickering at each other. You know what I mean? That's what we do. That's fine. That's because we're American. We're allowed to do that to each other. Don't let somebody else step in, because we'll stop what we're doing, like the government, and probably kick their ass, and then so we'll get back to doing what we do. But being stopped by the racist ideology, those generations are dying off, man. Those racist folks that do not care, that just want to see more violence, and they're into this superiority, this, that, and the other. Check this out. Unite Ohio goes down to the State House and protests. Well, on the corner are these black supremacist guys, and they're almost always there every time we go there. And I always say hi, and they never say hi to me. And they really believe that they're better, than everybody else, and it's just all this stuff. And I fight for them too. Do I vehemently disagree with what they have to say? Yeah. Do I understand what it is to be American? Yeah. Do I defend their right to be a bunch of damn morons? Yeah, I do. They're my morons. They're American morons. I don't care if they hate me. I don't care if they miss the point. It doesn't matter. There's enough of us that understand, and we'll preserve that knowledge. We'll preserve those rights. This country, this government, and the government is here, its people are completely separate. It's two completely different entities. And now the rest of the world really knows it for sure. Who else saw the people in Gaza sending all those signs over to the people in Ferguson saying, we know what it's like to be persecuted because of our skin color. We know what it's like to be, I mean, are you freaking kidding me? Showing them how to put together gas masks with Maalox and empty 2-liter bottles? Are you freaking kidding me? That's the same people our government are telling us to hate. And then they're like, hey, let me help you out, brother. You know what I mean? Our government gets burned every time they have a thought. Every single time. And they've made the Patriots' jobs really easy because they just look like shit continuously. Look, did you guys know that the people no longer have a right to assemble in Ferguson? You have to stay constantly moving. You're not allowed to stop. Really? No longer has because of the rioting. I'm sorry. Let me reread my Constitution, and it says that it's suspended if you riot. No. What the fuck is that? That would be the definition of a type of martial law. It's a big damn problem. Okay. So Tiny will not be able to join us. His phone. They don't have Google Hangouts compatible with the phones yet, I guess. Unless somebody else wants to try and let me know. Yeah, triple crunch. Yeah, that's one of the oldest of American traditions, is us being able to debate. The Americans were known for that. Historically, it was what we were known for, because while the Arabs were chopping off each other's heads with scimitars, we actually had what was called penny universities, which it was just a social term. They would go down to where the local coffee shops were, and at the time they would pay a penny for a coffee, and everyone would sit down and fashionably debate politics. It was the in thing to do, to be intellectual and to stay engaged with your country and to be into politics and be able to debate without raising your voice and getting your temper going. You know, if you got real passionate and started to yell, that would mean you lost, you know. And then everybody would laugh and they'd buy you another coffee. And so debate, you know, and being able to disagree is kind of one of the founding principles of our country. It's look, man, we'll agree to disagree because we see that we'll lose sight of the goal if we sit here and bicker at each other. Well, you're white. Well, you're black. Well, you're fucking Spanish or whatever. We don't give a shit. Nobody cares. Do whatever you got to do. Let the white folks be the white folks. Black folks be the black folks. Let everybody do whatever they're going to do. Some of them are going to get together and party. Some of them aren't. Whatever. That's the American deal. We let people do what they want to do. The border, race. Anybody else got any other suggestions for things we want to bring up tonight before we conclude this here shindig? Cody. Yeah. Cody is saying to watch Unsealed Conspiracy Files. I don't know anything about it, but talks about what the things that the government is hiding from us, and how it's a puppet presidency, and yeah, I think everybody would agree with you there, Cody. We don't even have to see that to know that the government has been hiding stuff, and then when they do, through Freedom of Information, Isle of Tonkin, World War I, World War II, Vietnam War. They start to release this information that is so freaking unbelievable that literally people don't believe it. You tell them, did you know the United States government admitted to starting and lying to get us into World War I? No, that's not true. That's not true. They declassified it, but that's the state of where we are, I guess. So, all right. I believe it's key for blacks and whites especially to unite in order to take the country back. We'll always have racism, but we have to have equal rights and fight together to really change the course. This government is for money, power, and slavery, and all. They don't care about race. Many people are complacent. They think nothing can happen here, and it's poison to our society. You are absolutely correct, Mr. Hoover. We don't want our Xboxes to be interrupted. That's kind of our thing. It's like, I would revolt or I would go and protest, but I've got my Xbox, and I'm just, what do I know? I'm a guy on Xbox. And that's, and a lot of people feel safe too as long as they keep their jobs. Boy, do I have a lecture for you guys on jobs. Let me know if you want to hear that. But I won't get into it if you don't want to hear it. But if you guys do want to hear my lecture on our jobs, let me know. And the complacency is poison to our society. You're absolutely right. A lot of the different human rights issues that come up, it's weird because I got people talking to me about human rights and different kinds. I don't know how many people are, and I know this may seem a bit off topic, but the people that are killing the Christians, just slaughtering them in the hundreds over in the Middle East, they do a lot of that genital mutilation as well. And if you look into religiously why they do that, I don't even know what the fuck to say about that. It's supposed to make them more manly. It's just so weird, so bizarre. They do this to women, obviously for control, and they treat women like they treat their dogs better than they treat women. And they've talked about doing this to Americans. If you guys saw the ISIS picture they took in front of the White House, if you were to get on that page, I mean, they start talking about how the Americans will be treated under Islamic law. And, well, that's probably not even there now. They probably took that shit down. But if it is, you'll see, you know, they talk about that. They talk about, you know, women not even being a third-class citizen. You know, they barely consider them citizenry at all, except where it suits certain purposes. And that's just their form of Islam. I couldn't tell you about all of them, but make no mistake. In the video that the one rancher there on the border showed, shows the guys, like he has a hidden camera in the bushes, and it shows the guys, and they're all like Middle Easterners. None of them are Spanish. And they ended up running or whatnot, and they left some information, and it was all like Middle Eastern passports and stuff. So those guys are coming in through that border as well, along with, you know, people from all these different countries. Russia has a huge presence down in South America, has for over a decade now. So I think a lot of people from a lot of different places are making a lot of moves in your homeland right now. Right now. Other countries are also seeing what we're seeing. It's not just us. In those countries that don't particularly like us and have a good first world infrastructure, do you honestly think they wouldn't jump on this? They want you to go to work, and they want you to be stuck on your Xbox. Make no mistake. So, unless you guys, let me make sure I don't miss any of the comments on my other deals here. Let me see if I can get another organizer on. I appreciate you guys taking the time to be engaged and do this. A lot of folks, you know, they may sit around and complain, but they're not going to do much more than that. I'll close by saying two things. Actually, one, if nobody wanted to hear the lecture on jobs. I'll keep it down to one. Okay. Our border, in my opinion, is the boon for a ruling class to end our country's current existence. It is going to work in tandem. Our government is the best, like I said, at overthrowing power structures. Be it that they're the best, and we've done it in South America, we've done it all through the Middle East. It was just for years and years and years. And they obviously don't want the American people to have the power that they do, the power that the American people themselves don't even know they possess. We don't know our collective strength, not really, because we haven't had to see it. How could we? You know, forefathers, founding fathers, they understood their collective strength. We've not had to understand that. Some of our veterans and soldiers understand what they're capable of when you have a comprehensive unit, when you have a well-oiled machine that works together. But most of us don't know. Most of us aren't really aware of our collective strength. Our government is. They have fought against the collective strength of many other populations in many other countries. So they understand damn well what we're capable of when we come together, when we decide to drop the bullshit. When we decide to say, hey, I don't give a damn what color your skin is, I don't give a shit what party lines you follow, your faith doesn't concern me at all. You and I need to come together to get our country back, to get this ruling class and this leadership the hell out of there, to give the positions to people like you and me. Because the first thing folks like us are going to do is we're going to go in there and get rid of all of the red tape. all the bullshit that stops all of the progress from happening. And when you take poor people like us, who know how to live poor as well, and you put us in a situation where someone comes up with a couple $100 million, we'll laugh them away into their jail cell. Because what are we going to do with $100 million other than give it away? You know, that's not what we do this for. We know how to live poor, and we know how to live with nothing. Money becomes less attractive when you realize how much you can rely on yourself. Take the power away from these bastards every time we start to think for ourselves and realize our own strength. Be it that that's what we're doing, they'll do everything they can to make sure that we stop that. If it means whatever methodology, that's exactly what they'll use. And it wouldn't just be one thing. Our government is way too good. They're way too thorough and way too thoughtful for it to just be one thing. It doesn't even make sense as far as I'm concerned. They would use a catalyst, you know, open the border, make sure that the situation in Ferguson is exacerbated, and then continue and continue and continue. So, Mr. Adams, let's see, what kind of time frame do I feel we are looking at before collapse, given the situations and events I've discussed tonight? Here's the thing about a time frame. Let's say out of the 350 million people in this country, 100 million of them were listening to me. So I had good notoriety, and I was pretty prolific. And I said something that was spot on. Those sons of bitches could change it. And there was a lady that was part of the 1%. She was the personal doctor for different statesmen. And she was talking about like personal, different means that they want to use to gain total control of the country that they would use in the future. And she said then that they're constantly having to shift their timelines and how they do things. I think we can all pretty well collectively see that they've probably upped their timelines up. I mean, here recently, this is nuts, the different rights they've been taking away, the indefinite detention that we've talked about. Man, if I had to put a timeline to it, I'd be surprised if something didn't happen when the weather turns fall to winter here in the next few months, and they don't take advantage of the cold weather. I really see that happening. I really see them taking advantage of this incredibly cold weather and using it to do whatever in the hell they want. If it doesn't happen by then, and it's more of a natural evolution, then I would say the beginning of next summer would be the very beginning of the end for now, and that would be for the social fabric, but that's considering we don't have any changes. You know, just everything that's going on now continues. So, and that's highly unlikely. All right, Tiny can see and hear me finally, buddy.
Yay!
Did your call come through? All right, Tiny, since you can see and hear me, we've loosely covered the border. We talked about Ferguson. We definitely talked about race a little bit. Is there anything that you want me to discuss? And then I have some other folks to go to here as well. All right, Mr. Adams, you know you got brothers out here in the Midwest that'll stand with you as well. And I think they will use the weather to try and hurt us. And it'll hurt. All right, thank you, Cody, for your contribution this evening. We really appreciated that. Gotta switch over to my different chats here. And I'm waiting for Tiny to possibly give a suggestion. I know he was wanting to... Oh, and I've got someone else here. Alright, and I've got another buddy who may join us here. So we've, you know what, since I'm waiting on them, I'll tell you about your job. Your job, you've been told your entire life, is something that identifies you. If you're a man, when you go to marry a woman, her father traditionally, when he meets you, oh, well, where do you work? What kind of job do you have? What does he do for a living? Our job, our career, our training, all of that is supposed to identify us, in large part. And it doesn't. And it usually takes someone about 10 years working at a career, their career job that they went to college for and everything, for them to realize it doesn't mean anything. And that's what they'll tell you. And that's what you also hear from the professors as well. A lot of them, they'll tell you, you know, that's why professors, you know, they teach what they love. It's the only way they can stand it. So your job, your entire life, you've been taught that you have to have a job. You have to have a job. If you don't have a job, you're a worthless piece of shit. And we believe it. We also, people who are brought up in the Judeo-Protestant Christian culture are also taught to identify your job with your religion, your spirituality. You know, it even says, you know, if you're a sluggard, you'll starve. You know, the working man is the one that will be prosperous. What if I told you that that belief, that social structure, all that entire encompassing idea has been used against you? And that when this ruling class gets everything they want and they feel they need, and they have you completely by the short and curlies, you know what the one thing is that you'll still have that you recognize from your old life in this country? Go ahead. Your job. Yeah. You're not going to lose your job. That's not going to happen. You know, we already have a system of slavery, which is a system of debt. So, with that being the case, when the hammer really comes down and they really have got all of us to a point of submission like they would want us to be in, you're still going to have to go to work. You're still going to have your job. And I want you to think about that. You're not going to get paid for it like you are now. You're not going to have the benefits that you probably don't have now. It'll be the same job because we still have to make the country run. If we were taken over by communist China, guess what? Communist China still has an economy. They still need you to go to work. Except if you don't, even if you feel like shit, they'll shoot you in the head. This current leadership, they are running things the exact same way. You will still have your job, so think about that. Is it worth it to you to do the most extreme thing you could possibly consider and quit your job? Can you prepare for that? Can you take 2 months? Can you take 2 weeks? Can you sit down with your family and say, look, this is the situation as I see it. I'm going to need your support. I'm going to need your help. You know, do you go to your employer and say, look, there's a bunch of us, we all feel this way, and we feel like we have to fight for our country. That's exactly what we're going to do. We hope that we can get our jobs back. And let me tell you something else, all right? Think about this. If it was all of us, if America stood up, first of all, historically, when the American people stand up as a populace, not a government, we change the world. We change the world. That's what we do when we stand up. That's the kind of strength that we have. We don't just change a nation, we change the world. When you ask my friend from Germany, is the rest of the world waiting for America? Are they waiting for the U.S. citizenry to wake up? All of my friends from the UK say yes. They say, what in the hell are you waiting for? Why are you, of all people, allowing your government to run amok the way they are? We thought your country was different. We thought your Constitution was different. We thought your Bill of Rights was different. And we sure as hell thought that you people were a hell of a lot stronger than this. How does that make you feel? As an American, how does that make you feel? Think about that. The rest of the world is looking at us really confused right now. Really confused. And that's okay. You can keep your job because you will keep your job. You won't have a choice. You will have zero choice. And if you don't go to work, they'll shoot you in the head. And if your kid doesn't go to work for you, they'll shoot them in the head. And that's how they run. You think this ruling class would do it any differently? Absolutely not. I want you to think twice about your job. I want everybody to think twice about their jobs. I want them to get people they know to think twice about their jobs. That's a poison. That's one of our greatest virtues. And think about it just for yourself. Think about it for yourself. Does it kind of seem like maybe one of our greatest virtues that we hold on dearly to is being used against us? You've seen the end of pensions. You've seen the end of overtime and 401ks. Now they're coming for Social Security. Does it seem like you should keep that job, or does it seem like you keeping that job and your neighbor keeping that job is hurting all of us? Maybe, just maybe, we stand up and we stand up together. That would also be my answer to the border. Curious to know, pending on this next presidential election, if you believe there's a candidate that could move us away from a catastrophe. I can answer that very quickly for you. No. No, there isn't, and I'll tell you why. You cannot work within the confines of this system. You can't. The system is broken. We actually have to go in now, get rid of all of the sitting ruling class, get rid of the way they've perverted the Constitution and pretty much annihilated the Bill of Rights, restore those things back to what they're supposed to be, then get some lowly son of a bitch like you or me into that office. And I propose this, a lottery, okay? You can also run for the office. That's fine. You're not going to do it the way it's been, you know, with all these millions of dollars and everything. That's insanity. You can run for office, but there's also a lottery, and whoever wins that lottery, whoever gets that lottery, they run the entire time. All right? Now, if you're a Republican and you become president, your vice president is Democrat, the guy who is running against you. It's how they used to do it. And then I say we institute the Greek policy, right? At the end of the year, the worst politicians are banished for 12 years. We just send them out into the Sahara Desert by themselves. If they make it after 12 years, they can come back. That's fine. If they can't, they die. So, you know, then that might keep our politicians honest. Maybe. And so, no. The answer is no. You cannot work within the confines of our present system. And let me tell you this, too. I had she was my best friend at the time, and she worked at the, it was a Republican voting station. She comes back. She knows that I'm not Republican. I'm not Democrat. I'm not any of the gangs. And she comes back and says, you know, she really honestly thought that the Democrats were the ones that were up to all the shenanigans in the voting booths and everything. She came back, she said it was no different. She said you wouldn't believe the violations I saw. And she was an officer. You know, she said instead of doing the job that she was assigned to do, she actually had to read the book and spend her whole day making sure these people weren't doing these violations because she was the one responsible. And they just kept doing it and kept doing it and kept doing it, and it's all illegal, and it's every voting station, every voting station. Think about who works there, okay? Your 80-year-old grandma who is a staunch Republican, and your 60-year-old uncle who is a staunch Democrat, and they volunteer to work at the voting booths even though they get paid a little bit of money to do so, and since they're the ones in charge and in control, guess what? That voting station goes the way they want it to. People, it is what it is. It is what it is. Whether it's an uncomfortable truth or not, whether you like it or not, whether you want to hear it or not, okay? You heard it. Now you deal with it the way that you feel appropriate, but it is what it is, you know? Our friend in Germany says that the people in Germany are even more asleep than the Americans, and that's rough. I know that the German people have been heavily polarized as well. They're subjected to a lot of the same types of advertising, the same type of leadership, well, shenanigans that go on. I know it's hard for them, and I hate to hear that about Germany. Making sure I'm getting everybody squared away here. And we got to everybody's responses. All right. Had another person join in. Any questions? Then what do you guys think about my synopsis on jobs and how that's been used against us? And what do you think about my take on race? And I haven't gotten to Israel-Gaza, so I've got to do that. Yes, the German beer is much better than ours. The beer, do you hear that? The beer gardens, I mean, yeah.
No question.
Without question. We actually have the worst beer in the world. Foster's Australian for beer only comes here because Australians won't drink it. How do I propose we begin to address these problems? Okay. First, before I address that question, am I allowed to announce your presence, sir? I want to make sure that I can tell you guys who this is before I say anything and address his question. Okay, excellent, thank you. So right now I'm talking with Mr. Michael Loudermilk. Thank you, Tiny. I will get to you here in just a moment. That's also an excellent question. Michael Loudermilk is running for the congressional seat here in Ohio. That'll be obviously 2016. He has joined Unite Ohio, and I mean, he just got his master's degree. What a huge asset to us. You know, we're motivated, passionate guys. He's motivated, passionate, and educated. So, you know, he's dangerous. And we were more than happy to welcome him to the Unite Ohio family. And, you know, kind of honored to do so. And we back up his efforts. And, you know, he's got a question here. How do you propose we begin to address these problems? Well, let me kind of run through them in a haphazard manner, if that's okay. When it comes to race, you get the racists together, and not in a Geraldo Rivera, Jerry Springer kind of a way. You know, you do it in a responsible way, and you tell them, look, this is America. You're allowed to believe whatever you want. We give people the dignity of their own choices. Just understand that you're in a minority, and the majority really isn't going to... Oh, he's running for the 3rd district. I appreciate you telling me that. I almost said 2nd, so thank you very much. The 3rd district in Ohio, congressional seat, for Mr. Michael Loudermilk. I forgot where I was. we get these people together. This is the general belief. Every time you hear on the news, racism's bad, okay? It doesn't do anything. It doesn't make it go away. It doesn't change anybody's mind. So instead of just trying to shove it under the rug and acting like it doesn't exist, how about we say, listen, we understand that you feel that way. We understand, you got your own ideas about stuff, all right? What you have available to you is your ability to stay over there with your beliefs, or look at this vast, diverse culture around you and take part in it. Whatever your part is, we won't tolerate a traitor. You can be a racist in America, unfortunately, but you can't be a traitor. So when it's time for all of us to come together, like now, then you come together. My belief from that, again, is that when I have to stand next to my brown brother, and I have to stand next to my Latino brothers, and just America has everything. We have everybody. People from India, people from Japan. We have people everywhere. These folks are Americans. I mean, they'll be like Japanese. You'll see Japanese features and everything, but they're third generation American. Fourth generation, fifth generation. They're just as American as you or I. They really get it. They understand what it is to be here. And when you have to fight next to those people and you're in fear for your life, when you have to overthrow a government that has been running amok all over planet dirt, it's our government that's going around playing police the world, kick everybody's ass. So it's our responsibility. The whole world is looking to us. Can you imagine how strong they want us to be? How strong we need to be to succeed? I'm here to tell you that this government fears our strength. They always have. That's why they've thrown all of these things at us to separate us and divide us. Hate him because of his skin color. Hate her because she's a woman. Nah, hell no. I'm not going to lose everything I've ever loved because they want me to hate some people I never met. Those people are insane. That would be the first way that I would deal with that, with the racial issue. Everything is all kind of the same issue because of our sense of urgency with what this government is doing. So, you want to be racist, but you still got to come join the group. You want to be a bigot, you want to be misogynist, you want to be whatever. You're American. Get your ass over here. We have to fight together, or you're going to lose your right to think whatever in the hell your stupid shit you're thinking over there. And that's pretty simple. Right now we have that unifying message that works, because you can be 80 years old or you can be 8 years old. Both of those dynamics are walking around the country going, you know what, it's kind of looks bad. It looks like a downward spiral to me. I don't know. I'm just throwing that out there. So everyone kind of sees it. And that would be the first way that I would address this. And across the board, my way of dealing with it is to deal in reality. It's just that simple. You don't shove things under the rug. You don't act like they're not happening. We've had white cops killing black folks forever in this country. Since forever. Since we've had cops. That shit's got to stop. I understand that my daughter stands to inherit a bunch of hatred that has nothing to do with her. She could be walking somewhere at some point in time, and because people are so freaking hateful, she's pregnant with my grandchild, and then someone plays the knockout game with her walking by, just because people are that hateful. They didn't listen to folks like Tupac, who talked about the skill it's going to take us to be real to each other and try to heal one another. They didn't have time for that. That's okay. Ohio does, and there's plenty more like us. Mr. Loudermilk is one of them. He's fighting for something better, and I really appreciate that question, Mr. Loudermilk. I really do. He is asking, is the answer to overthrow the government, or are we going to use the Constitution to get the rights we deserve? You're an aspiring statesman, so your methodology is going to be to use the Constitution to get the rights that we deserve. And I'm not a statesman. I'm a pissed off civilian. So my answer is we march in Capitol Hill with numbers. We march into the buildings. We physically remove these leaders and their secretaries and all of their staff. We get every single one of these bastards out of there. We can't trust them. Look at their track record. Hell, dude, it's Republicans and Democrats that are responsible for all of this, which is sure why you're running on an independent ticket, because you don't trust them either. It's just that my level and my degree of distrust may run a bit deeper. Or it may not be that it runs a bit deeper. It's that my methodology is a hell of a lot more brutal, and I'm willing to admit it. Let me tell you why, though. We've had this discussion, and you're one of the better politicians. I wish you were actually debating this with me on here. That'd be great. We could use the Constitution to get the rights that we deserve back if the system wasn't broken by completely corrupt politicians that are in there now. They have given us no chance to do that. The voting doesn't work. Look at the first Bush election. Point in case, right? So we know it doesn't work on a national level. I've seen personally in my life in Ohio where it doesn't work on a local level. This system doesn't work presently. And it's because people don't have faith in it, they don't trust in it. But I tell you what was weird was the way that our voting system is set up is on the honor system. It was set up that way because we had true patriots. The women that were running the voting booths were the wives of the patriots that shed blood for the country. They made sure that the voting was done correctly. And if you and I had to fight and go to Capitol Hill and make a physical presence and pull these people out of their offices to fire them and get them the hell out of there so that voting would matter again, people would protect it better. You know, they would take more seriously what it is to be here and be American. And they would understand the virtue of it. So I saw Mr. Hoover typing something. How can we, and then this is from Tiny, how can we unite better for our future? There's a lot of different answers to that. If you are white and you want to try to unite a bunch of people that are of a different race, you are not going to be able to use the same methodology that you use with a bunch of white people most of the time. If you don't understand those social dynamics, tread lightly. Use an honest heart, an honest mouth. Don't be somebody you're not. Tell them exactly what you think and what you feel, and you don't have to know every answer. You don't even have to know any answers. Just tell them what you think and feel. Be honest. Let people know your heart. The black folks in this country that I know, that are my friends, that I've met under varying circumstances, they look me in my eye when I talk to them, and I look them in theirs, and we have honest conversation. I think when you have a group that has been so hurt by another historically, they can't help but look at you like a child does, man. They want to know if you're telling them the truth or not, and that's how all of my relationships have been with, I would say, probably my black friends, some Latino friends, some of my, I had a friend from Haiti, and he was like that too, man. All those folks, man, they're not sure. You know, there's a bad history. You know, everybody blames the white man for everything. Most of us didn't do it. It's a small group of white people that just screwed the rest of us, man. And, you know, now we're dealing with it. We're dealing with other people's baggage. So I think if we really want to unite, we need to be honest. We need to tell people our hearts and tell them, you know, what's going on is wrong. Everyone can see it. We've got to come together. If you want to bring people together, don't argue with them. If they say, you're an idiot, da-da-da-da-da-da, they're probably not going to listen to you anyway, so fuck with them. And tell them, you're right, I am an idiot. I can't believe I was so stupid as to come over here and talk to you, you know? And then see if that gets them to engage further in a conversation, you know? stimulate them in some kind of a way as to provoke them into thinking. As a group, free-thinking Americans, do you think we can make a change? Do I think that we can? As in, are we able to? Yes, I do. It may be more important to know, though, where I'm coming from. I'm coming from a very cynical place, you know. I was pretty anti-American in the sense of I just like to fuck with people and tell them you're weak. You're an American nitwit. You're a pussy. You let your government walk all over you, and you don't even know your rights. You don't even begin to know your rights. You're a moron. You don't know your Constitution. You don't know your rights. You couldn't name 10 fucking presidents right now. You know, your level of education is so goddamn low. You know, and that's what I used to do, and just berate Americans. And what I found was that I was wrong. I was absolutely wrong. There are millions of Americans that feel exactly like all of us here tonight, and they want to know. They want to know they're not alone, that they're not crazy, that when they have some of their thoughts about, man, is the government really doing this? Is it really Orwellian? Are we really living in this time? Is it really that bad? Is it really that much? You know, they're not alone. And it's not just them and their circle of friends. And it's not just them and their circle of friends on Facebook. And it's not just them, you know, and this goes on and on because we're freaking seeing it. I have the Ferguson coverage on right now from mainstream media. You know, now we're all getting to see, did we say that the police force was being militarized? It is, you know. There it was, Ferguson. I mean, you know, so a lot of awareness is out there, and a lot of people are seeing it. They're seeing it for themselves. And can we make a change? Yeah, we can. I've seen from Columbus Freedom Rally turning into or being absorbed into Unite Ohio, working with Forgotten Country and all these other groups, 3% Patriots. The former members of OAS, you know, all these different groups, and then we just started to grow and grow and grow and grow. And it's working professionals, it's people that are just joining the workforce because they're 18 years old, it's people that are retired, it's everybody. We're all seeing the exact same thing. You're not crazy. You're not alone. You're in America in a time when time is calling on a generation to do something, no matter how comfortable they are. Doesn't matter. And if you choose to do nothing, understand you're still making a choice, and understand the implications of that choice and what that means for the generations down the road. We can choose to be a bunch of lazy bastards. We can choose to be a bunch of people that sat around and went, I'm not really sure if that's going on, or we can choose to do something else. All right, Mr. Loudermilk. I kind of went in a different direction with what you said there. I am open to doing what needs to be done in order to get our country where it needs to be, but I believe we must do it through building relationships between people, actually getting people reconnected like we used to be. Then and maybe we can unite millions of people that are willing to march, shut down cities, and demand our rights. I absolutely agree with you, 100%. And think about how powerful that would be. If everybody that's listening would think about this for just a second, something I want you to picture in your mind. Picture 20 people. It's a nice group, good group. Now picture 200 people and what that looks like. Now picture 2,000 people. Now picture the downtown streets of Columbus, Ohio. And now picture 200,000 people standing in the streets, blocking all commerce. That's not violent. It's not aggressive. You think that might get the attention of the city when we stop all commerce? And as soon as the police show up and say they're going to arrest somebody, everybody else demands that they're arrested as well. And then when the city arrests as many people as they can, and they waste all that time, and it's a huge clusterfuck for the courts, and it's a big goddamn deal for the city, and they have to shut certain things down. And you see as a population how willing a ruling class is to lock up its citizenry who are doing something peaceful because they see that something is unjust. Maybe that'll start to change other people's minds as well about the fact that they're not being governed. They're being ruled over. And that's why I call them a ruling class. Mr. Hoover, one thing I do know is that the battle for America has already begun, and it's been going on for a while now, and it's going to keep getting worse and worse before it gets better. Let me stop right there. I have no idea how many people I have heard say that, including myself. It'll get worse before it gets better. But I do believe we will take it back by whatever means necessary. Unfortunately, it's inevitable. Well, the reason why we're supposed to have the same weaponry as the United States military, like I said before, is in case we get a tyrant in power who tries to use the military against us. So how many of you have LRADs? None? Nobody has a long-range acoustic device that's been weaponized? Oh, well then that's probably a reason to get really goddamn mad. That's probably a reason to be really pissed off right now. The fact that they would use that against your fellow countrymen and women? No, that's bullshit. That's some big time bullshit right there. They'll fucking pull that out on people in Missouri, but they won't touch the goddamn border with it? Are you serious? What exactly do we do against the most powerful military on the planet? Good question. Let me remind you that we are the most ingenuitive people on earth. I have a lot of questions, guys. I'm sorry. I'm trying to get to them. The radio was invented in a garage in Indiana. The Wright brothers were actually from Ohio, but so many people, including themselves, had tried to fly already in Ohio and had died, that Ohio was kind of on the cutting edge of passing a law that said no more flying in Ohio. We had stifled the innovation, but it was because we were tired of seeing people die. The innovation that belongs inherently to the American people cannot be stifled. I understand it's the most powerful military on the planet, and I know what it is, what it means. The implications are that we're bringing a gun to a microwave emitter fight. I get that. But those are Americans behind those LRADs, and they can't convince them to shoot at us forever. They can't convince them to hit us with the LRADs forever. Our military and police force will split by at least 50%, at least. And the American people, if you think the IEDs in Baghdad are impressive by the Iraqis and Al-Qaeda and they blow up city blocks with IEDs, just wait till you see what Americans do, what we have that's available to us at our hardware stores and things. Let the U.S. military come rolling down the street in those. We'll vaporize them too. These are really good questions, guys. Man, I missed a bunch by Mr. Adams. I apologize. A point he feels needs reiterated is when we say our system is failing or the government is corrupt, that it needs to be made clear that the American and U.S. system has long been hijacked. That's absolutely the case. I mean, that we have to keep in constant reminder of ourselves that we are not our government. We are not responsible for their choices any longer. You know, and we plan on taking responsibility for the choices they've made by whooping their asses the hell out of D.C. So, you know, we want to rectify that situation. They've done a lot of things in your name, on your behalf, with your dollars, and they've been doing it for years, including killing people, which I'm sure most of us don't fucking agree with. And how about the fact that all of our food is poisoned? You know, how many of you would poison a person? Just one person. How many of you would poison one person? How many of you would poison, say a group, say 5 people? Okay, how many of you would just one school full of children? How about that? Because these cocksuckers are poisoning an entire nation. baby food, children's candy, dinner time food, everything. Who the fuck does that? Who in the hell does that? I don't know how they're making these choices. I don't know. But I know that they are. I know that aspartame is fucking cancerous. I know that natural flavoring, some of it comes from the anal glands of mature North American beavers. And they don't process out the the filth. So I wouldn't fucking do that. You wouldn't do that. That's not some shit that normal people would do. That's something that's done by large corporations that stand to profit and gain a lot by putting literally shit into your child's candy. So, and they're unconscionable. You can't measure what these people do in the ruling class by what you would do, because that's not how they operate. These are completely different types of creatures. So, yeah, I absolutely agree. The republic our founders gave us is not what we see represented here today. Absolutely agree. Yeah, let's talk about OAS a little bit. A lot of people like to talk about Occupy American Spring, the big failure. See, listen, you guys don't understand and you haven't read enough history, all right? Think about this. OAS was probably one of the largest accomplishments in the patriot movement in the nation. And I wasn't even in OAS, so I'm not saying it like, like I'm trying to save face for me or something. This is the way I look at it from an outsider looking at what had happened with OAS. They were a protest movement organization. They were supposed to have millions and millions of people march on DC. They only got thousands. What ended up happening was everyone, there was people that were discouraged, and some of the more immature people went home and pouted. But what ended up happening was those people that went to DC, they all networked, they all got that experience, they all went back home, and they have been developing their own groups since. I mean, come on. That was exactly the goal. I mean, that's perfect. That is absolutely perfect, and I think it's what should happen. So in that way, OAS was a huge success. They put a firestorm into the rest of the nation. All of those members spread out and kind of infected the rest of the nation with what they were doing there. So yeah, I really appreciate that. Great questions, great freaking input. I'm really glad we did this tonight. I wasn't going to do it. So, see here. To some extent, hope to accomplish in regards to a mass mobilization and handling of the situation. I think there will be a mass mobilization. I think that what is inevitably going to end up happening is people they're going to hear from their friends that their job doesn't identify them and that they will have their job when this country goes completely to shit. And then those people will start to think for themselves, you know what, he's right, or she's right. I will still have my job when tyranny comes. They'll make me keep my job. So quitting my job, along with my neighbor and the next person down and the next person, if everybody does it, then guess what? Everybody has their job to go back to when we're done getting our country back. Only took 3% of the population last time in this country for a successful revolt. How many people, ask yourself, and you don't have to answer me, ask yourself, how many Americans do you think they've pissed off this time, percentage-wise? Bet you it's more than 3. Our friend from Germany says that the United States government and military wouldn't be so powerful without the backing of friends like Germany, Saudi Arabia, Israel, etc. Angela Merkel, leader of Germany, kisses Obama's ass. Some people here are really pissed off about that shit. Americans are pissed off about that. Americans wanted to see Angela Merkel really stand up and say, why the fuck are you spying on us? Come to find out she couldn't do it because they were spying on the Americans. I still wanted her to. I still wanted her to give him shit. She wouldn't. And that tells you right there. There's a larger agenda. When a world leader is spied on and the whole world announces it and they don't say anything, I mean... Yeah, folks, there's probably a larger agenda, and it probably doesn't take some conspiracy theorist to fucking sit there and tell you that, there's a club and you ain't in it. Yeah, I totally agree with that. Yeah, a lot of the OAS guys didn't last as long as 23 days, which is one of the guys here. Um, and a lot of the movements have seen a lot of changes, but all of the changes have been growth. And who cares if you're in a patriot movement and it gets dissolved or absolved into another one? Keep moving forward, keep going. Just keep doing what you were doing. It doesn't matter. All right, guys. I don't want to keep everybody uh, on here forever. So if there are any last questions, I'll check YouTube. Everything there looks good. Mr. Loudermilk, thanks for coming out tonight. I agree that we need to get people reconnected how we used to be. And we will get enough people willing to march, and we will demand our rights. And I hope that we don't have to do it in the way that I'm thinking, and I hope we can keep it by a more civil means. Let's face it, guys, Americans are civil people. We don't want war. Politicians want war. Military generals want war. We don't, we don't. It's not us. We want to play our Xbox. We work hard for our freaking Xboxes and our stupid ass cars and stuff. So it's rarely us, and we're not represented by our government well, or if at all. And so applaud yourselves for being part of this and just listening tonight to someone and engaging in the conversation. You're not somebody who's content to just sit around. You're somebody who engages and tries to learn more and tries to be part of something. And, folks appreciate that. Yeah, Mr. Loudermilk, please join me on camera next time. If you go to Google Hangouts on Air. Google Hangouts on Air. Oh, looky there. When we have things not boiled down to money, or more accurately, control of resources. Now I see you guys were actually posting on the Google Hangout, and I didn't think anybody else was on there. I apologize. What are your thoughts about the reasoning behind protest? Trying to make sure I went over these. Others are being told to prepare to go to war with us. They're being told to do this by the super rich that seek to gain financially as a result of anything that could possibly happen. Everything happening in this country is a result of the same group. Think about it. Every situation we face today all boils down to money. And that's Mr. Loudermilk. And of course, look, we got ourselves a troll on there. Nice. Saying we're conspiracy jackasses are the real threat, making assumptions out of ignorance. Yeah, we're just assuming that the police have been militarized. He's got it all together. We appreciate that. So yeah, I'll pay a little bit better attention to the chat on there, guys. I apologize for not being on there a little bit better. So yeah, where you were posting on there, on the Google Hangouts on Air, if you just create an account on there, it walks you through. It's really easy. If I can do it, you guys can definitely do it. Yeah, Pennsylvania. We've got a lot of contacts out there. We've actually done a lot of public relations work out there in the name of Unite Ohio, trying to get Pennsylvanians on board with us. And so, if there's anything I can do to help organize out there in PA, let me know. Because the Unite Ohio wants to march with PA so bad. FPRN.com. FPRN.com. That's the radio station, independent radio station that we used out there in PA. They're awesome. Check those guys out. Yeah, Mr. Loudermilk will be joining us on camera next time, which today's Monday. We may do one tomorrow night. Let me know if you guys want to do another one tomorrow night or not, and we'll get it squared away. Yeah, and then if you guys want to jump on the camera as well for Google Hangouts on air when I announce that I'm going to do it, or just hit me up in a private message and we'll organize it. It's really easy. Mr. Hoover, thank you for your compliment and participation. He said, keep up the good work and get the word out. Spread it like Ebola. So, yeah, PA, Andrea in Germany, thank you so much, Mr. Loudermilk, Michael Loudermilk, for congressional seat in Ohio, the 3rd District. Tiny, one of the organizers for Unite Ohio, thanks for coming out tonight. That ridiculous troll on the Google Hangout, thanks for showing up. You guys are a constant source of entertainment for people who have decided to educate themselves. So in that respect, we kind of need you guys around. We do get bored. So yeah, I think that's it, guys. Thanks again. I hope I got everybody. And then just hit me up in a private message. Let me know when you guys want to do it again. All right, man. God bless America, and make no mistake, when it's time to fight, it's in your DNA. It's in your blood. Our family members, most of us, fought for this country, and if your family members didn't fight for this country, they fought for another one. So that blood is in all of us. That ability is in all of us. And when it's time, we'll know what to do. This country and its people are organizing and talking about this stuff now like never before. So, all right, guys, have a good night.